G'day humans, Chris Stead from Finder here. We're talking NFT games, and today we're talking about Dogami. Now, Dogami is going to introduce the world to the Petaverse, and you should know that it is pronounced Dogami, not Dogami, which is what I first thought. Dogami sounds like a very cute Japanese kind of character, but Dogami sounds like a sex crime, so I don't know why they've done that, but anyway, it's Dogami. Now, this is a play-to-earn NFT game which is having its first NFT drop on February 22, 2022. And it's releasing in about mid-year 2022. So it's definitely time for some analysis. Is this the next big thing in the NFT game space? Let's dive in and take a look. Now, Dogami is a pet simulator that plays out as an AR smartphone game. So we're talking a game that you play on your mobile phone and that you look through the screen and you'll see the real world through your screen, but then they will overlay the digital world onto that real world. Now, obviously the most popular example of this is Pokémon Go, which no doubt you've come across before. So just imagine Pokémon Go, but instead of a Pokemon running around, it's gonna be the Dogami NFTs that you've bought, the little pets and dogs. But as a gameplay experience, it's not like Pokemon Go so much. It's more like a Nintendogs, if you've come across that game, or to a lesser extent, Pets or Little Friends. There's been lots of Nintendogs ripoffs. So it's more about a pet simulator experience than it is about a action battler Pokemon catcher that we saw with Pokemon Go. So that's the type of experience that you can expect. And look, you know what? This is a gameplay experience which hundreds of millions of people have loved over the years. So it does work and is a good fit for someone trying to push into the NFT game space. Now at this point, there's only the briefest hints of gameplay footage available, barely anything at all, just a big CGI trailer. But it's not hard to predict the type of game experience you're going to get here. So you're going to have your Dogami, which is an NFT that you've either purchased or you've rented or you're doing a profit share with, as we've seen with many other play-to-earn games similar to this. And you're going to have to look after it, play with it, teach it lessons, walk it around, just basically nurture this thing from its puppy phase to its adult phase and eventually to a spirit phase, which is after the thing has done all the breeding it can do and has passed away in a theoretical sense anyway. So this is the type of experience that you're going to have to get into, and the better that you do that, the more that you progress, and the better you do with things like your booster level, which is how well you train it, and your bonding level is in how well you've joined and synergized with this virtual pet of yours and treated it well, the more doga tokens you're going to receive, which is the in-game money that I'll talk about a bit later on. So that is pretty much the core aspect of the gameplay you can experience here. Classic pet simulator with the layer on the top, the fact that you will own the actual dogs for real as an NFT, and that those NFTs and the game mechanics that you're playing will earn you doga a token with real world money value. Interestingly, one of the gameplay mechanics and part of what you'll need to do if you want to get 100% daily completion on all the quests and tasks you need to do to sustain your dog and make sure it's a happy thing is to walk it a certain distance. So that's something we did kind of see in Pokemon Go, but it's also kind of a, I guess, gamification of fitness and healthy. So that's kind of a really interesting aspect, and actually one I'm pretty keen to bring up because I think it's pretty positive. How they're going to track that, obviously it's going to use your phone's GPS signal and connection to 4G, 5G, whatever it happens to be, in order to track that. But if you do walk a certain amount of distance during the day with your dog, loaded up on your phone of course, then you are going to help complete that completion quest. So that's an interesting aspect of this game that I think definitely deserves a mention. Now, as mentioned, there's not a hell of a lot of gameplay on show as of the time I'm saying this, but there is a white paper and it's pretty clear what type of direction they're going to go with this game. Now, one of the things I do like is that they're looking at introducing different gameplay loops and experiences as the dogs progress through their life cycle. So in that initial puppy phase, it's very much about teaching it, grooming it, patting it, bonding with it, that kind of basic pet simulator stuff. But as you move into the adult phase, you start looking at career paths, and you can start taking your dog down certain career paths. They can be firefighters or police dogs or yoga dogs, whatever that happens to be. And that, going down those career paths and completing that line of progression and leveling up and becoming a career dog provides not only more doga token rewards, but also increases the value of the Dogami NFT itself as well. So that's really, really interesting mechanic, I think, to bring into this game and to add a bit of extra depth. Now, what I am concerned about though, however, is the way that items have been used in the game and also consumables. So this is where the game starts to veer a little bit, and I'll talk about this a bit more, but it starts to veer a little bit into some of the kind of devilish monetization strategies we see from mobile games, where by paying extra, you're going to actually be able to get things that will reduce cool times and allow things to happen quicker. And I don't feel like this is necessarily gameplay first approach. I feel like that is a make money approach. So you know what, that's what they're in the game for, but still I really hope that they don't go too hard with that. I want you to be able to play this game and level up through it easily, not without getting just completely bogged down in a horrible grind that's trying to incentivize you to buy things to limit that grind. That's where the game's going to start losing me and my interest. So we'll see how that plays out in the end, but that's something you definitely have to be concerned of. But you know, if you do get to the end of this place and you do get to a point where your dog is all the way down his career line, opens up more options for you, including the Dogami Olympics. So there'll be events like that, and you know, things are going to start opening up with PvP and PvE experiences as we get further down. Like there'll be mini games involved in getting through those career paths. So as that opens up, as you get further along, there's definitely going to be more fun to be had. So just, you know, that's why I kind of hope that getting to that point doesn't become a horrible grind. Have I been calling it Dogami the whole time, or Dogami? I think I psyched myself out at the start. Anyway, it's Dogami. Dogami, not Dogami. Okay. One of the things that these development team is definitely going to have to focus on with this product is the AI. They really need to make sure that there's a cathartic and rewarding experience to the way that the dogs interact with you in different scenarios, in different parts of the game. Potentially also in the social aspect, if you come across another player who's walking around the street playing the game, how they're going to interact with each other. So as long as I really hope they don't get stuck into a routine of very basic AI loops on how they interact with the task and the quest and the things that you're doing. So that's something the developer definitely is going to have to put a lot of focus and effort into. It's going to be challenging, and I really do hope they get it right. The Dogami pets are, of course, the key NFT here. I suspect there'll probably be more as the game goes on. There'll probably be like food bowls and bones and things like that. It'll be NFTs, but the Dogami, the actual pet, is the key NFT here. Now, the initial drop is going to have the 8 breeds with a total of 1,000 NFTs for each of the breeds, totaling 8,000 on that first drop. However, by the end of the life cycle of this game, they're expecting to have over 300 breeds available. Now, breeding the breeds is, of course, going to be a key aspect of this game, as it is with a lot of play-to-earn games. You're going to take a boy and a girl dog, they're going to come together and they're going to create another dog, or another Dogami, based on the traits and a bit of random generalization of the two parents. It'll start with the pure breeds, and eventually we will start seeing some crossbreeds appear down the path in the future. Now, these will happen during love seasons. Not being cute, that's what they're called in the game. These are moments where the dogs are able to breed. Now, interestingly, the way that they've set it up is that 2 different players, one with a boy dog, one with a girl dog, will get together, they will breed, and then there'll be a blind auction to see who gets to keep the offspring. Now, I am really wary of this approach because basically you have to keep outbidding each other to see who is going to keep the new NFT. And I just don't think that's the go. That's not why you're in the game. The breeding process of these NFT play-to-earn games is a huge part of the fun and the experience and the potential to make something out of the game financially. So the fact that you have to go into a blind auction with someone who may be way better stocked with cash or doga than you are, because it's going to cost a lot of doga to breed in the first place, right? Is concerning. And on top of that, the actual development team takes 5%, or at least the game ecosystem takes 5% of the total auction price at the end. So this just feels a little too far on the side of make me money, as opposed to what gamers may experience. Now, the fact that dogs have litters should enable both players to walk away with an NFT from the end of a breeding phase. I understand that there's a need to create some sort of rarity, to create some sort of supply and demand around the NFT space for it to function as a means of making money. But still, when you think about that, there still could be other ways in which they could burn potentially reducing the amount of breeds that an NFT could have and then burning it off at the end, which they kind of do because it goes into a spirit phase where it can no longer breed once it's hit its count. But yeah, question marks over that, and I'm not sure how to. I'd like to hear what you think, what the community thinks about that one, because yeah, for me, question marks. So Dogami is built on a Tezos blockchain. That's a good thing. It's one of the greener blockchain options that are out there. It's well backed. There's a lot of people using it at the moment, so there's good understanding of it. So I think that's a big plus for the game. It's also just got the one economy, which is the doga tokens. So I think that's a lot easier to understand. A lot of these ecosystems we're seeing have at least two. So that's a positive, I think, for this game. And it's the doga token that you'll be using for your breeding, for in-game item purchasing. Also for scholars and renting and that type of thing as well. We'll be using the doga token. Now, speaking of the scholars, they've got a really interesting system set up there. Obviously, we're speaking about the play to earn aspects of how you engage with the dog. You'll be rewarded doga tokens as you've got the career path. As you get deeper into the game, that's the way you're going to be able to earn by completing your daily challenges and quests in order of bonding and teaching is how you're going to play to earn this game. Now, when you are looking at the puppy phase of things, scholars and the like people who don't own the NFTs can come in and set up a smart contract situation, classic rental, for a certain cut of the profits for a certain amount of time of rental, that type of thing. Potentially there'd be some doga that goes across as part of that. That wasn't clear. But that is the setup during the puppy phase. When it moves to the adult phase, it actually becomes a revenue sharing model, a 50% one too. So you can put your dog effectively into a training academy with another player who doesn't own the NFT, and they'll go through the grind of putting you up the career path, but then you'll do a 50% share of everything that's earned. And on top of that, you have to have completed at least one career path before you can become someone who's allowed to train someone else's dog. So how's that going to play out with the play to earn gaming space? Because if you don't own an NFT, how do you get to the point of going down the career path anyway? Because that doesn't happen to the adult phase. So therefore, most play to earn gamers who would be doing your Axie Infinities, your Peg Axies, that type of thing, would be coming in and only being kind of blocked into that puppies phase, probably only earning 5% or something like that, or maybe having to throw down something in the hope of earning more. So that's a really interesting way of looking at it. But it does allow those people who have been deeper into the game and have got further into the game to allow to maybe double down on their investment somewhat by taking a 50% cut of someone else's NFT. So that's a really interesting way that they've run the economy there. So Dogami is looking pretty promising overall. There's no developer name behind it, but there is a transparent team of over 20 humans that you can go look up on LinkedIn with quite a diverse background of skills that they bring into this title. Now, the developer is based out of France, and France has Ubisoft, which is one of the biggest game publishers on the planet, and Ubisoft is a supporter of this game, so that's going to help them. In fact, when you look at the supporters of this game, you've got people like Animoca Brands, the Sandbox, the Blockchain Game Alliance. There's a lot of people listed. It is worth noting that all of those guys are interlinked in a certain extent. Ubisoft is an investor in Tezos and Animoca Brands. Animoca Brands owns the Sandbox, and Animoca Brands is in the Blockchain Game Alliance as a major player in that alliance too. So they are, when you look at the backers, they are actually kind of all interconnected, but still that's still a lot of backing, right? So that's good. Also on top of that, this style of gameplay experience is well received globally around the world and has been very successful in the future, so that's a good thing. I am concerned about some of the things I've read in the white paper, in particular the way that they're auctioning off the breeding system and the auctions at the end of that, and also some of the way that in-game items can be purchased to remove cooldowns and timers on some of the mechanics in the game. Those two aspects leave me with some question marks, but I think with the following that they've already gained on their social platforms, and the fact this is a developer that isn't overreaching with super complex gameplay, they're not trying to be some massive MMO 3D RPG thing, which we're seeing some guys going for as their first game, puts this Dogami in good stead. Speaking of stead, I'm Chris Stead from Finder. Thank you for watching. Make sure you check out my other videos, and until next time, no worries. See you later.